Summer Maelstrom by Kitsunro 16, Chapter 4. Find the Uchiha. In the forest outside of Wave, the new Team 7 could be seen standing together near a tree, while the entire team, sans Naruto, was on their feet. The Uzumaki, on the other hand, was lying in the grass with multiple painful yet comical-looking bumps poking out of his blond hair as smoke poured from his beaten body. I know what Naruto said was stupid and irresponsible, but was beating him that much really necessary? We still need him for the mission, Kakashi said dully, not even looking up from his book. Summer waved off his concern. Eh, he'll be fine in a second. He's gotten worse from Professor Goodwitch when he fell asleep in class back at Beacon. Besides, Sakura spoke up, crossing her arms and huffing in annoyance. The idiot deserved for teaching an innocent girl such a dirty word. But it was an accident, the mentioned idiot said weakly. Yes, an accident that will never happen again. Got it, Naruto? The Rose said sternly. He nodded. Got it. Then, like magic, the blonde hopped up as the bumps and bruises vanished so fast one might think it was all an act. He turned on his heel and saluted the Jonin. Chunin Naruto Uzumaki reporting for duty. Kakashi sighed and slipped his small book into his pouch. Just how long have you been waiting to use that line? The Uzumaki grinned cheekily, causing the Silverhead to roll his eye. Naruto's antics aside, I believe it's time to begin the operation. The others turned serious and gave him their full attention. We're ready, Sensei, Summer confirmed, hesitating on the new term, something Kakashi was quick to take notice of. Just call me Kakashi or Hatake if you wish to be formal. It'll make it much easier on both of us if you did, the Jonin suggested. Besides, I haven't taught you anything, so you have no reason to address me as such. The silver-eyed girl nodded. Very well, Kakashi, the man I smiled. Good, now that that's settled, let's get started. Our intel states that Sasuke was seen traveling through Wave while being accompanied by three others, two males, one female. One of the males was said to be very large in size and had very distinguishable orange hair. Naruto's eyes lit up at the color of the man's hair, but refrained himself from saying anything. The other male was reported to be smaller in size, but no less unique. He has white hair and shark-like teeth, much like that of the seven swordsmen of the mist. The final member of group has red hair with matching eyes and glasses. No other information about their appearances seems to be available other than what I have just told you. So, what are you saying is that other than what color hair they have, we have nothing on their abilities or fighting styles? Summer asked skeptically. No, Kakashi said seriously. The three leaned in close to listen clearly. They also have matching cloaks, he finished cheerfully, causing them to fall flat on their face. Naruto, being the first to recover, jabbed a finger at him and shouted, "What the hell, Sensei? I thought you were being serious." Now, Naruto, the Jonin placated. It was just a joke. The blonde scoffed and crossed his arms. Whatever. It wasn't even funny, Tetabayo. Kakashi rubbed his neck sheepishly before he once more adorned a serious expression. Since we don't know their current location, we'll have to do a little scouting. Summer, Sakura, I want you two to investigate where the group was last spotted. Ask around and see if somebody has seen anyone that matches any of their appearances. Naruto, you're with me. We will be checking out the outskirts near the bridge. I'll summon Pakan to see if he can pick up any of their scents. Sensei, Sakura cut in with a question. Doesn't your dog need a scent to track somebody in the first place? Oh, I got something. Naruto reached into his pouch and pulled out a small scroll. And how is that supposed to help us? The pink kid asked skeptically. And Naruto glared at her lightly in return. I wasn't finished yet. Opening the scroll, the blonde put the three fingers on a seal, writing in it. Pushing chakra through his fingers, he watched as a puff of smoke appeared. Once the smoke disappeared, it revealed to him holding a typical Konoha headband with a slash through the symbol. I knew I would need this someday, so I asked Pervy Sates to seal this for me so I wouldn't lose it. Kakashi nodded. Good, and since it was in a storage seal, then that means the scent is still there. Good job, Naruto. The blonde laughed and scratched the top of his head. Ah, it was nothing. The Jonin grinned, not that the others could see it under his mask at his student's modestness. It was a rare trait to have and a very good one for a ninja. After all, being too cocky in battle could very well get you killed. He lost count of how many jonin he had been able to beat when he was younger because they overestimated themselves and underestimated him. Now, he said, getting back on track, you all have your orders. Is there any questions? Kakashi waited a moment to see if there were any protests. When he received none, he continued, no? Then let's move out. At his order, the team made their move. Summer and Sakura began running towards the town, while Naruto and Kakashi took to the trees with Sakura and Summer. The two females of Team 7 entered the town of Wave and immediately disappeared into the bustling streets. Slipping their way through the crowd, they kept an open eye for any flashes of red, white, or orange hair. It shouldn't be too hard due to the colors being so exotic amongst the usual black and brown hair that the residents of Wave shared. Occasionally asking a random citizen, the girls searched until midway, where they eventually decided to take a small break at the local cafe, in which they both now sat in a booth, simply slowly from their cups of tea. The two sat in relative comfortable silence as Sakura stole an occasional glance at Summer. If there's something on my face? The Rose asked, raising an amused brow. Sakura's face blushed at being caught looking, and she waved her arms in front of her in denial. No, I was just thinking about how I don't really know you at all that well. I mean, we're on the same team now, right? She finished slightly awkward near the end. Having thought about it, Summer realized that the pinkhead had some merit to her words. The only time she really had any contact with the girl was when she first arrived in the village and during the test, after which she had stayed with Naruto in the hospital until he woke up, and by then they had already received their mission. Because of all things, the two never really had much time to talk and bond as a team. I suppose you're right. I guess I'll start, Summer said, causing Sakura to smile. She decided to go with the introduction that Naruto had used to help their team back at Beacon, getting to know one another. My name is Summer Rose. I like Naruto, Yang, my friends at Beacon, and being a huntress. I dislike grim people who enjoy the pain of others and a certain someone. The silver-eyed girl's voice turned dark with emotion when she finished her dislikes and nearly caused Sakura to cringe. My hobbies are working on Blizzard Rose, training and hunting Grim, and just like that, the summer's tone was cheerful again. My dreams for the future is to become an awesome mother and the greatest huntress in the world. Blizzard Rose, the pinkette, took notice of the unfamiliar term. Summer grinned excitedly. That's the name of my swords. Their special blades reinforced by a powerful alternating current and resonated at extremely high frequencies. This oscillation weakened the molecular bonds of anything it cut, thereby increasing its cutting ability. Summer trailed off as Sakura's eyes began to swirl in confusion. She sighed. It vibrates really fast and I can cut through almost anything, she simplified. Oh, Sakura placed the fist into her palm. That's why it cut through Kakashi Sensei's kunai so easily. Summer grinned sheepishly. Actually, that was just a regular blade. Naruto put a seal on it so I don't, accidentally cut some stuff, she said, thinking of a few misshapes that occurred when she was in the early stages of training. The Harno felt her eyes nearly pop out of her skull at the news. That was when the blade's power was sealed. She'd really hate to be on the receiving end of the full cutting power. So why'd you name it Blizzard Rose? Summer tapped at the side of her nose. You'll find out soon enough. Now I believe it's your turn. Sakura had a look of realization. Oh, right. My name is Sakura Haruno. I like my master Tsunade, my village, and my friends who live there. I dislike being weak and people who understand and who don't understand me. My hobbies are learning new medical ninjutsu and training to become stronger. My dream is to become the greatest medical ninja ever. And her voice trailed, find an old teammate and bring him back, as she declared reluctantly. Resoundingly. Sasuke, right? Summer asked curiously. Naruto told me about his fight with him at the valley at the end. Sakura nodded. Yeah, and I'll do everything I can to bring him back. What if he attempts to kill you? The Rose questioned. She needed to know if she had the resolve. Uh, I don't. She hesitated. I'm not sure what I do. The Haruno finally admitted. Summer sighed. Well, you need to find out, because from what I heard, there is a very strong possibility that Sasuke will attempt to end your life once we find him. I'd rather not lose another teammate, she said solemnly. Sakura grimaced at that. Right. I'll do my best to make sure that doesn't happen. The Rose nodded thankfully. Thanks are all I ask for now. All I ask is for now. She stood up. Let's get back to work. We have a rogue too. She cut off mid-sentence as her eyes turned to dinner plates before they fell into a deadpan. What's wrong? Sakura asked, a bit worried at the silver-eyed huntress's rapid change in face. Summer just pointed weakly to the larger windows of the shops and said dully, found them. Sakura turned as well and had to hold in a gasp of shock. Walking just outside the tea place was a group of 4 people wearing matching black cloaks with red clouds on them. Each of them had different hair colors of red, orange, and white, but what stood out most to Sakura was the male leading the group. His clothes and build weren't visible under his cloak, but the dark hair that spiked up near the back was a dead giveaway. Sasuke. Sakura breathed. He was here. She wasn't prepared to find him so soon. They weren't even looking for him at the time, and he just shows up out of the blue with an entourage. Summer sighed at the completely random and coincidental discovery. It seemed some of Naruto's luck passed on to her. Well, no use in complaining now, she thought to herself. Might as well make the most of the situation. She may not be the best strategist on her team. That title belonged to Raven. She was more like Naruto and planned better on the fly. However, that did not mean she didn't know how to think outside of battle, so it was with confidence that she ordered Sakura to make a shadow clone and send it to where Kakashi said he and Naruto will be. Luckily, despite her shock, Haruna was still able to listen to orders. She created the clone and dispatched it on its mission. After finishing her task, Sakura turned to the Rose and couldn't help but ask what to do next. Now we follow them. Kakashi will be able to track us with his dogs. Once the boys catch up, we'll figure out the next steps. Summer grinned when the pinkhead nodded. She turned her attention to the group fading into the distance. They're getting away. We need to go. The two left the shop and took to the roofs. They had a job to do. With Kakashi and Naruto. They named the bridge after me, Naruto stated at the large words written above him. It would seem so, Kakashi remarked, his eye focused on his remaining male student. You really shouldn't be that surprised. You did help save this country. The blonde scratched his neck. But I didn't do it alone. No, you didn't, Kakashi agreed, but you were the one who inspired them to stand up before their country. That's what made you a hero in the eyes of the people. Naruto just laughed sheepishly. Well, I guess so. The Jonin chuckled alongside him before turning serious. All right, time to get started. Kakashi pulled out a kunai and nicked the pad of his thumb. He reholstered his weapon and ran through a set of hand seals before slamming his hand on the ground. A sealing matrix spread through his hand, and with a large puff of smoke, a small, pug-like dog with brown fur and a dark brown snout and ears appeared. The dog wore a blue vest with the Heno Heno Mohi seal and a Konoha for head protector on top of his head. Yo, the little dog raised a paw. What you need for this time, Kakashi? I need you to track this scent to Pakon, Kakashi answered, holding out the headband. Oh, is that it? You sure you don't want to feel how soft my paw is? He asked, raising his front foot temptingly. Maybe later, but for now we really need your help now, the Jonin said urgently as he tried to stress the situation to the Ninken. Fine, fine, let me get a whiff of it. And taking a quick sniff of the headband, Pakon began to smell around the area. Yep, he's definitely been here. The scent lingers in the area all around here and seems to be heading into town, the dog reported. I can't tell you how long I'll be able to track him because of the mist, but I'll do my best. That's all I can ask for, Kakashi said. He turned to Naruto. Let's go. Right. The two ninja plus a dog made their quick progress across the bridge and soon reached the other side. Once there, they took to the roofs and continued to follow Pakon as he steadily tracked Sasuke's scent. It was only after a few minutes that they ran into Sakura's clone. Literally, as Naruto leaped to the next roof, a pink blur appeared in front of him, causing him to ram into it. Acting on instinct, the blonde grabbed onto the blur, twisting in the air and tossing it at the wall. The blur which Naruto had finally recognized as Sakura spun momentarily before she caught herself and landed against the wall feet first, where she instinctively latched onto it with her chakra. Naruto quickly followed suit and stuck to the opposite wall. Ah, Sakura! Naruto cried out, feeling alarmed at his actions. I'm sorry. Sakura gave him a glare. Whatever, Naruto. Just be more careful next time. If I hadn't caught myself in time, I might have been dispelled, she said sternly. Naruto nodded, though he did take notice of something he found odd in her sentence. Dispelled? He asked. Sakura nodded. Yes, I'm a clone. I may not have the ridiculous reserves you have, but I have enough to make a single clone without falling over from chakra exhaustion. Anyway, now is not the time. I have information I need to give to Sensei. Where is he? Up here. Sakura looked up and saw the mentioned Jonin standing at the edge of the roof with a hand raised. She jumped up from her position on the wall with Naruto right behind her. Kakashi-sensei, we found Sasuke, the clone said. Explain. Summer and I were taking a small break at a tea shop when Summer spotted the group through the window. She ordered the boss to create me and sent me to find you guys while they follow them. She reported. Kakashi nodded. Good decision. I want you to continue tracking Sasuke and the others, but stay out of sight. We'll catch up as soon as possible, he ordered. Got it. And with that, the clone dispelled, sending the memories back to the original. Kakashi then turned to Pakon. Alright, new orders. I want you to track the scent left behind by Sakura's clone back to the tea shop. Then we'll catch up to them from there. The Ninken nodded and began sniffing the air. Picking up the current scent, he changed directions from the previous route and immediately went after the smell before it could fade. The other two fell in behind him as they once again jumped from roof to roof. Naruto worried slightly. Be careful, Summer. Sasuke Uchiha was angry. No, angry was too small a word. He was downright pissed. He had thought that after he had killed his brother, he would be satisfied with finally avenging his clan. But now he knew the truth of what happened all those years ago. The masked man, who claimed to be the infamous Madara Uchiha, told him how after the nine-tailed demon fox's attack, Konoha's leadership began to suspect that the Uchiha were behind the attack due to the Sharingan's ability to control the beast. How he was told how from the point onwards the Uchiha were placed under close surveillance, something Madara claims was accompanied by forcing all Uchiha to live in one section of the village. This mistrust and isolation from the rest of the village created feelings of ill will amongst the Uchiha and ultimately rekindled the hatred harbored towards the Senju-influenced government. As such, the Uchiha, led by his father Fugaku Uchiha, began planning a coup d'etat to overthrow Konoha's leadership. In preparation for the coup, the Uchiha started inserting a member within Konoha's command structure to act as spies. His brother Itachi Uchiha was placed in the Anbu, the direct arm of the Hokage. However, Itachi did not agree with the Uchiha's plans, believing the coup would only escalate into another shinobi war. As such, he turned into a double agent, providing Konoha with information on the Uchiha's plans. The third Hokage, who did not agree with the treatment of the Uchiha following the Fox's attack, tried to find a peaceful resolution with the clan. Tanzo Shimura, however, did not believe negotiations would solve anything and felt that eliminating all the Uchiha would cause the least amount of bloodshed. The Uchiha noticed his brother's strange behavior and tasked Susui Uchiha with keeping an eye on him. Susui, a close friend of Itachi, shared his opinions to the coup. When peace talks started to break down, Susui attempted to use his Mangekyo Sharingan's Kotoa Matsumani to force the Uchiha's leaders to change their minds. Danzo felt this was a waste of Kotoa Matsumani's rare usage and took Shusui's right eye for himself before Susui had a chance to use it. Having failed and fearful that Danzo would take his other eye too, Susui entrusted his left eye to his brother before committing suicide. After fighting his brother, the Uchiha believed that Susui had, in fact, been murdered by Itachi and the suicide was staged, and as such no longer trusted him. Although he still wanted to find a non-violent solution, Shishui's death convinced Itachi that events could no longer be stopped. He became outwardly critical of the clan's actions and hostile towards the individual members. Danzo, aware of Tachi's conflicted feelings, explained the two possible outcomes. The Uchiha could be allowed to carry out their coup, and an act that would ultimately lead to the entire clan's extermination, including him and Itachi. Alternatively, Itachi could assassinate the Uchiha before the coup could take place, and in exchange would be allowed to spare Sasuke's life. Itachi decided to save his younger brother's life and became a rogue nin while still remaining loyal to the village. After hearing Madara's story on what had truly happened, Sasuke vowed to avenge his brother, and he would start with the destruction of the Hidden Leaf, specifically Danzo and his followers. However, he was not arrogant enough to believe that he would take on the entirety of Konoha on his own. That's why he agreed on Madara's offer to join the Akatsuki along with the newly christened Team Hawk. With their help, he may have enough manpower to wipe that sorry excuse for a village off the face of the earth. But first, he had to meet up with the contact the Akatsuki sent to meet with him. That's why he is now traveling through Nami no Kuni in order to find him. He was told that he would meet with his informant to learn what he needed to do in order to be fully enrolled within their ranks. Sasuke realized this might be the only chance he had to be inducted, so he knew to do everything he could not to fail. He even put up with Shigetsu and Karen's constant arguments, along with Redhead's support attempts at seducing him. He was not interested in the girl, he only kept her around because her sensing abilities were quite the boon. The same with the others, Jugo and Suigetsu. They were only pawns that he could use and dispose of when he no longer needed them, but for now he was stuck with them. Sasuke, a voice called, breaking his inner monologue. He turned to the redhead who had disturbed him. What? He demanded, his tone suggesting that he was annoyed. Karen took notice of this and spoke quickly. I can sense the two people following us, along with two other signatures rapidly gaining on them, she reported. Sasuke took a moment to process this. How close are they? There are two on the roof to our left. The other two are 3 kilometers behind them. What are their chakra levels? Two are around the average Jonin, while one I can't get a good read on. It's almost like they don't have chakra, but a different source of energy altogether. Sasuke took notice of this, but motioned for the girl to continue. Oh, right. Well, the final one is. She trailed off as her eyes widened. Dear Kami, his chakra is larger than that fish guy's Kisame, Karen said, shocked. Uchiha felt his own eyes widened. Someone who had larger reserves than the famed tailed Biju was headed their way. Suddenly, Karen stumbled, causing Jugo to reach out to stop her from falling. Karen, are you alright? The orange-haired giant asked worryingly. Karen nodded slowly. Yeah, I'm fine. It's just that guy's chakra. When I tried digging deeper, I was nearly overwhelmed by the amount of rage and hatred I felt. It was like I was staring into the face of the devil, she breathed. Sasuke became slightly worried before he brought his emotions under control and thought about the situation. Immediately, his quick thinking led him to the identity of at least one of the people following him. Whoever's tracking us has a Jinchuriki with them. Karin, can you look to see the state of his chakra? He asked. Karin nodded, if a bit hesitant, and closed her eyes. It feels erratic, but controlled, she reported. Sasuke nodded. That means the Jinchuriki has a large amount or full control over his tailed beast. If he is after one of us, then we have to lead them to a place with a lot of cover so we can fight on even ground. He began strategizing. I know a place just east of here that we could go to. It's an abandoned log factory that went out of business when Gato still ruled. I don't think it has been fixed up since then, Suigetsu suggested. Sasuke nodded. Right, then that's where we'll lure them, the Uchiha finalized. Karen, I want you to walk in the center so you can keep me updated on their whereabouts. Jugo, Suigetsu, you two stay behind and watch your back. I'll take point. His eyes flashed red, briefly revealing 3 interesting ellipses before it faded back to black. Now let's go. They're changing directions, Sakura noted. Summer nodded. They have been following in the same route nearly the entire time, but now it seems they might be getting closer to their destination. Come on, we can't just lose sight of them. The other two will be here soon. The Rose urged as the group they had been tailing turned another corner. Right, the two females continued to follow Sasuke as they kept themselves hidden. They watched curiously as the group took seemingly random turns and a few backtracks that eventually led to an old, large abandoned building with no roof and several logs lying in precious positions. The surrounding area was void of any life and was only marred by the occasional large rocking tree. When the two girls saw this, they instantly were on the alert and hid in the nearest set of branches. I think this is a trap? Summer couldn't help but ask. Sakura gave her a flat look. Yeah, that's what I figured. She finished and began to laugh awkwardly while holding her arm and looking off to the side. Uh-huh. The Haruno rolled her eyes, though she couldn't help but the small smile tugged on the corners of her mouth at the girl's behavior. Let's wait on Naruto and Kakashi Sensei before we go any further, she suggested. Summer opened her mouth to agree, but was interrupted by another voice. No need to wait. We're already here. Sakura gasped, and Summer nearly squealed and fell over in shock, if not for the hand that covered her mouth and arm encircling her waist. Easy there, Summer. It's just us. Several eyes met blue ones that sparkled with amusement. No need to panic. Summer shivered lightly as his breath tickled her ears before she spun out of the Uzumaki's embrace and pointed an accusing finger at him. I was panicking. I just stepped on a tack. Naruto raised the brow. You're wearing boots, he pointed out. Summer looked down at the mentioned footwear and pouted, causing him to chuckle. It was a big tack. We're in a tree. The rose, if possible, pouted harder. In as amusing as this is, Kakashi spoke up, catching Summer's attention. You both need to update Naruto and I on the situation, aside from what your clone already told us, right? Sakura nodded. After I sent the clone, we began tracking Sasuke and his associates. At first it seemed like they didn't have a real destination in mind, but that soon changed when that redhead stopped and told Sasuke something while glancing in our direction. They then continued walking and led us here. Kakashi grimaced. It seems that the redhead is some kind of sensor, the Jonin notated, which means we no longer have the element of surprise. I say we just go in there and beat the crap out of them. Naruto slammed his fist together. If they know we're here already, let's make sure they feel it too. Kakashi shook his head at the blonde's antics. Leave it to Naruto to think of the most simplest of ideas, he thought to himself as he lifted his headband. While not the most sophisticated of plans, it's really the only option we have, the Silverhead agreed. Sakura rounded on the man. You mean we're actually going through with this harebrained scheme? She asked, shocked. Summer grinned as she drew her swords. Simple and straightforward. I like it. You too? Naruto smirked as his gauntlets shifted. Let's do this. Ignoring Sakura's protest, the blonde leaped from the tree and fired a few shots at the door, blowing it in. He landed in front of the entrance and immediately sprinted inside. He always was one for flashy entrances, Summer idly noted before turning to the others. Guess we better get going. Can't let him start without us. With that being said, she jumped down and ran after Naruto. She was quickly followed by Kakashi. Sakura sighed as she palmed her face. I'm surrounded by idiots, she shrugged. Well, you know what they say. If you can't beat them, join them. Oi! Naruto called out. I know you're in here, Sasuke. Come out. Feeling movements in his right, the blonde ducked as a few shuriken whizzed overhead. He then dived to the side as a familiar massive sword impaled the ground where he previously stood. Rolling to his feet, Naruto sprang at his attacker and unloaded a punch only for it to go right through him as his adversary turned to water. Blinking owlishly, he barely had time to dodge a large chakra-propelled fist that busted up the ground below him while kicking up dust at the same time. Shielding his eyes from the small particles, Naruto vaguely heard the cry of Fire Star Fireball Jutsu. Blinking out any remaining dust, the Uzumaki looked up in time to see a massive fireball hurtling towards him. Just before it reached him, a flash of red appeared and the flames were split in two. Summer smiled at Naruto as she held her swords at ready. Need help? Pff, as if he waved her off. I had them on the ropes. Sure you did. I did. Mm-hmm. I believe you. Now you're mocking me. Whatever you say. Now you're just being mean. Please stop talking. A quiet voice interrupted them. The orange-haired giant Jugo stood up. However, he looked slightly different than before. His skin turned dark on the left side of his body, and his irises became a pale yellow color, while his sclera turned black. He spoke in an unhinged voice. I don't like your voices. They annoy me. I think I'll just rip out your throats. He laughed insanely. I'm afraid I can't let you do that. Jugo stopped laughing and looked up in time to see a foot crash into his face and send him flying. As annoying as it is, I would rather not have him lose his ability to speak. Hey Kakashi, that took you a while. Where's Sakura? Naruto asked, deciding to ignore the Jonin's barb. I'm here. The magenta girl slid next to him. Can't let you do this on your own. There's no telling what you'll mess up. She finished, causing him to grip his chest in fox pain. Oh, how you wound my poor heart, Sakura. I don't know how much more I can take. He leaned against Summer. Quick, kiss me to make the pain go away. The rose giggled and pushed the blonde away, but not before slipping in a quick peck on the cheek. The moment, however, was interrupted by a voice that tinged with malice. I should have known they would have sent you guys to find me. Team 7 looked up to the rafters and saw their target standing above them. Though I do not recognize you. He looked to Summer, who shrugged and did not say anything. Naruto instantly took notice of the crimson cloud patterned on his cloud. You joined the Akatsuki? Sasuke glanced at him. This is none of your concern, he spoke still stoically. I believe you are all here to attempt to bring me back. Of course, the blonde pounded his fist into a palm. I'm going to kick your ass and take you back by force. Weren't we ordered to negotiate force first? Sakura couldn't help but ask. Yes, but negotiations went right out the window when they attacked us, Kakashi replied. You're going to you're going to beat me? The Uchiha drawled. If it's anything like last time, then you'll be the one whose ass gets kicked. Besides, he vanished from view and appeared behind Naruto with his sword drawn. I will not allow you to live like last time. Sasuke swung his Chokuto and watched as it faced through the blonde as if he weren't there. His eyes widened in shock briefly before he turned to bring up a guard just as a yellow-clad fist smashed into it. That did not seem to be the end of it, however, as the fist then exploded and sent him crashing into some machinery. Sasuke glared at the smirking blonde as he picked himself up from the rubble. I'm not the same as I was last time, Sasuke, Naruto said as he brought both fists up in a brawler-type stance. I'm a hell of a lot stronger this time around. Sasuke's glare increased tenfold at the blonde's words. He felt the familiar shift in his eyes as they bled red and three tomos appeared. Looks like I can't hold back this time, he thought. I will finish what I started all those years ago. I will end you, Naruto Uzumaki. He spoke aloud. Naruto's grin grew feral. Bring it. End of chapter 4.